NFL Big Data Bowl, Ron on Twitter, or now they're called X, uh, yeah, I'm glad that the NFL Big Data Bowl event at the NFL Combine happened, because prior to the actual occurrence of the event, there was nothing put out by NFL operations that it was actually going to happen. It was like things were done in secret, which I believe is highly inappropriate. And the people who participated in the performance track were left out of the ceremony, again, without reason. It took Grok to offer a reason, and Grok's AI. We have humans running this who could have just simply said, hey, you know what, here's what's going on, all right? And been transparent about it. Or if you didn't want someone out there talking about it, you also could have contacted me privately and said, okay, Zenny, here's what's going on, but we don't want to publish this. Because it's obvious that there was a backstory that needed to be told. I really feel sorry for the contestants from China and Japan who won the performance track, who won a lot of money, but got no spotlight whatsoever. None, okay? You guys didn't even give them a mention. No one gave them a mention at all. Why the consistent habit of ignoring them? Is it because they're Chinese and Japanese? And if you say, oh no, that's not the reason, well, how does anyone know? There's clearly something wrong, okay? And I don't believe this is the kind of look the NFL should adopt. And I'm going to raise hell until it stops. You don't exclude people. All right, it's wrong. I don't care that you don't care. I care. All right? And if you ask me, and you haven't, there aren't enough people today who care about anything. That's why everything is so haywire. You have to give a doggone about how other people are treated. Those folks work just as hard as the folks in the universities. I can understand if you wanted, because I mentioned this in our website, NFL News, NFLBigDataBowl.com, and I said, hey, you know what? Maybe it's not a good idea to have people from all over the world participating, because you're going to get people who really don't understand football, and then they're going to give you a model result that isn't really appropriate to what you're looking for. But on top of that, what you're going to get are these master modelers who talk among each other and love whatever technique was used, but again, has nothing to do with solving a head coach's, problems with respect to dissecting how to think about a defense and its movements. Just to give you one example, all right? That is a serious problem, okay? And there's an element of, let's show people how smart we are, that I think overtakes the desire to communicate what is done. I'll give you an example. When I think I believe it was 2019, 2020, when it was Plonsky, one, the gentleman from Harvard, I interviewed him. And some of you have seen that interview, which included him. But what he said to me in full that I didn't emphasize was that even he couldn't explain exactly what the use for his creation was, and that they would sort of figure it out over time. Well, I'm saying, well, if that's the case, why didn't they give it to the group that had the, I think, really cool application of being able to figure out the cost of a block, or the value of a block in terms of from a monetary perspective? That was freaking cool. All right. And why that didn't get valued more, to life of me to this day, I do not know. It applied to football and game planning, and also financial planning. If you think about it, you do projections, you just, consider what they built. I thought it was freaking cool. All right. Maybe some team is using it. Okay. I'd love to know. My point is that we're at a juncture where, just like entertainment in football, we have the merging of data analysis in football. And that should not be done in secret, and where you're giving prizes to people just because they went to Harvard. And that's what it looked like in the case of the Big Data Bowl I covered. Let's give it to him because he went to Harvard. Okay, so if the person had come with it up with it from an HBCU, you mean to tell me you wouldn't have given them the prize? I mean, all these questions come up, all right? And I want you all to think about what you are doing, all right? Don't just do it and then find this little group and pat yourself on the back. Think about how it looks to the public. Think about your ability to communicate the value of what is done. Don't think, well, if they can't figure it out, it's just because they're not good at math or something like that. That's wrong. I have built system dynamics models since 1981. And I remember I had Harold Douglas Holder, the executive director of the Prevention Research Center in Berkeley. And this was 1991. And I had built this really complicated 60 system dynamics model, but it wasn't what Dr. Holder was looking for at all. He wanted something that was a simplified, representation of his mental model. You understand that? So I had to listen to him and communicate back to him what he wanted. I had to leave out what I thought was the better approach. I had to subordinate some of my ideas and represent his in the model for it to be valuable to him. You have the same problem in the National Football League right now. Understand? You have the same problem. The same problem. And a lot of you don't get it because you haven't had clients that were paying you to, in this case, build a system dynamics model that represents what they want. But then you can sort of go off on little flights of fancy and outcome and then show them what they should really expect. All right? It's a balancing act. All right. Enough. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube and bookmark ZennyReport.com and NFL News by Zenny62.com. And I should make a website about system dynamics. In fact, I think I will. All right. See you later. I got to run this errand.